All right, guys. Well, it's Sunday. That means that Sunday night blues are upon us. It's one thing about working from home and being an entrepreneur. I don't have the Sunday night blues because I work every day. Monday's just another day. But I do remember the Sunday night blues. Gosh, man, I hated those. I would stay up like really late on Sundays to avoid somehow thinking that would. It just made my Mondays worse staying up late on Sunday night. I don't know why. I have no idea why I did that. um, all right, I do have a topic tonight: impromptu lives. This topic I wanted to talk to is something that it's discussed in many books, and pretty much everybody that I've talked to, all the people that I've been trying to coach and help lately, this seems to be like a big issue in a lot of people's minds. Is that everybody's afraid of doing something because they don't think that they're an authority yet, right? And this stops people from doing, well, anything. It could literally stop you from taking the big leap, doing what you got to do, what you know is necessary, but you don't do it because you're like, well, no, I'm not there yet, and just a little bit longer, and I'll be certified or whatever it is. A lot of times you don't even have to be certified, It's just, I always refer to the movie Catch Me If You Can, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks, because that character, Frank Abagnale, it's a true life story of this kid. He was just like a 17-year-old kid, and he was just like a con artist, and he did whatever he wanted, just pretended to be whoever he wanted, and people believed it. And he did it just because he had this amazing amount of confidence. Now, I realize that there's a huge ethics dilemma involved, and he was breaking the law in a lot of aspects. I'm not condoning that behavior of breaking the law. What I'm saying is there's a lot of times where we think that we have to be an expert, and you don't actually define the word expert to yourself. Does that make sense? We typically, as a person, as an individual, we think that an expert is somebody who is perfection, which perfection doesn't exist. So no one is perfection. No one can be perfection because that doesn't exist. Huge example, doctors are probably the number one people given credit to for being experts in their field, which is great. I'm not denying the fact that doctors are, but anybody who's ever sat in a doctor's office and knows that the nurse comes in first, nurse leaves, the doctor comes in, doctor leaves, nurse comes back in, nurse leaves, doctor comes back in. And there's a whole bunch of back and forwards. And for a while, the doctor disappears. Well, he's disappearing because he has to go look up your symptoms. He has to go look up what you said, what you told him. He's not an expert. It's not all sitting in his brain. He has to go look it up. He's human, right? And I think a lot of us lose the human factor when we put people up on a pedestal, right? We essentially forget that the human factor is real, right? Let's rewind. There was a couple clients there that they were like, I can't call myself an agency yet because I'm just a freelancer. And these people that I'm training, and I'm like, who says that? Where is that written, that you're not an agency until you have 100 employees or 10 employees, until you have a sign out front on the door, you're not an agency. Where is that written? I don't understand where that's written. Hey, Drew, thanks for jumping in. You don't have to have the big building to be an agency or business. This is an obstacle that's put in front of you for no reason whatsoever. It's not written anywhere, right? Like, I posted it on my Facebook wall on my personal page, and I asked, I'm like, what's the deal? Why do people think that, like, first of all, if you have clients, you're an agency. I don't care what kind of agency. Are you a real estate agency? Are you a house cleaning agency? Are you an assistance agency? Do you provide a service of some kind? You're an agency. No, I'm a freelancer. Somebody actually said that in my personal group, commented, I'm a freelancer. But anyways, the people that I've been coaching lately, they always put these obstacles in front of themselves. It's like, stop, don't listen to other people. That's one of the biggest hurdles I know to overcome, is that you take what other people say to heart, right? When people give you advice and they criticize, you're like, oh, well, they said that I can't do that, so I shouldn't. No, don't let anyone defeat you. So the point was, Gay Hendricks, in his book, he wrote The Big Leap. It was a great book. He talks about the upper limit. And he was referring to, I think it was like in the first chapter or something, and I'm totally going to butcher this because it's been a while since I read the book. But he was talking about how his daughter went to college and he was making good income. His wife and him were happily married and everything seemed to be going right. And when his wife was at college, he was just like, I haven't heard from her in like 24 hours. And he started getting scared. And when he called, he couldn't get a hold of her in the dorm. So then he starts to panic. And his imagination starts running away with him, right? And he concocts this huge, terrible thing that's happening. His daughter's living alone on her own. And I can relate to this too because my son's in the Air Force. So I'm like, the world is going in chaotic because I'm not there to supervise my son. So I understand what he's saying, and he's going nuts. And he finally gets a hold of the resident advisor, the RA on campus in the dorm room. And the RA was like, yeah, I'm looking out the window. She's in the quad right now playing soccer. And he's like, oh, and he's like, why? Was there did she tell you something was wrong? What's going on? And he's like, no, just, I haven't heard from her in a while. So I got, yeah, she's fine. She's right out here. And so he calls it the upper limit, is like we self-defeat ourselves, right? Like we have this comfort zone where we're used to hanging out in, and anything above that comfort zone, it's like this, that's why they call it a glass ceiling, because you can see through it. You can see through the, but if you go through it, it's going to break. It's going to cut you up. We put an imaginary glass ceiling there, right? It doesn't even make it. It's not even a real glass ceiling. It's an imaginary one. We just put it there. We're like, oh, if we break through it, this is going to go wrong and that's going to go wrong. I can't call myself an agency because of this. I can't say I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. It's like, what? No, you're not aspiring. You are an entrepreneur. If you're putting forth an effort to do something, you are that thing, period. If you're putting forth the effort, you are that thing. Let me say that again. If you are putting forth the effort, you are. Okay? It's like, does a football player say, I'm not a football player until I go pro? No, he's a football player until the day he dies, until the day he stops playing football. He's a football player, period. Right? People need labels, and people need to put this imaginary credential on it. I don't know, a gold star. We need this thing. Stop doing that. Stop putting gold stars on things. Stop limiting yourself. I mean, and I got to tell you, so many things that I put limits on myself for, right? It's like, I didn't want to, oh man, I could tell you stories about all the stuff I prevented myself from doing, because what was the most recent one though? This happened a few months ago. Oh, the plastic surgeon. So I was reaching out to the plastic surgeon niche, right? And I've never reached out into this niche before. Trying to pick up clients in the plastic surgeon niche was a brand new thing to me. But I figured because they have such large income that they'd be willing to spend more money, which is true to a sense, but nobody likes to let go of money. Doesn't matter what niche they're in. So when I was building out all my funnels and I was reaching out to my clients, the potential clients, I found myself Googling vernacular to learn how they talk. In order to sell marketing services, digital marketing to them, I was like, I have to learn how they talk. I have to learn the jive and the lingo. Seriously, I had everything done on my end, the digital marketing and my proposals and my sales pitch and everything. But before I sent out the first email or the cold call or whatever, before I went to run the ads, I seriously said, you know what, I need to Google this first beforehand. As I was Googling it, I had to stop myself. It's like, what are you doing, man? I was coming up with a reason not to take action. That's it. Imaginary obstacle that I didn't have to face. I was imaginarily thinking of reasons not to get started. Do you do that? Honestly, drop a comment. Let me know something that you've put in your way, right? Because that's the number one thing, is like, once you realize that it's an imaginary obstacle, it no longer has control over you. Seriously, you'll never, well, you'll probably face it again, but it will never hold you down. It'll never hold you back, because you'll realize, you're like, yep, that's That's what I'm doing. That's what I do, which is a great way to actually have success and move forward, guys. Um, so one of the biggest, okay, so that wasn't even the most recent one. The most recent one is because I'm building up the course, right? For the six-figure agency, and I've put a lot of time and work into this, especially because I'm doing this in my evenings, in my spare time, right? So I have my agency where I take care of clients during the day, and in the nighttime, where I was originally building my Facebook group and doing a lot of my social building, I decided I'm going to start building the course instead. So now I'm building out these modules, and I'm doing all the research, and I'm putting a lot of effort into it, right? So as it was time to like start asking people, hey, can you come in and test it out? I seriously got little imaginary roadblocks in my way, right? Like, who the hell am I to do this? My agency is not as popular as this. And there's this other guy, Sebastian Robeck, who I like him. I have a lot of respect for him. I really do. I'm a part of his groups. I listen to the way he's talked, and he's an established agency, right? And so am I. But there was one fundamental flaw, is that he's got a huge following, you know, and I have a couple hundred members in my group. So I was like, no, my course isn't ready. I can't do the course. Maybe I should wait a little bit longer. And I was like, I'm not even kidding. I actually put 12 months in my goal, because I do goals. I got macro goals and micro goals, and I made it a macro goal, a 12-month goal. Even though I had started building everything out and I started doing it and started making the videos, and I was like, you know what? I'll just put it off another year. And I had to smack myself in the face, you know, and just be like, no, dummy, do it now. So here's the thing, guys. And this is the big mind-blowing event, is that you are one chapter ahead of somebody. Okay? You're always a chapter ahead of somebody else. There is somebody else that wants your knowledge that you can teach. Okay, so don't think just because I'm not at this person's level, I can't start yet. That's just a terrible way to think. It's so stifling. It holds you back. Why? You think about it for a second. Like, why would we do that to ourselves? So I constantly realize that I'm doing it. And that's like the most important part, is like, you're not gonna be able to stop it. You are not gonna ever be able to stop the upper limit. Okay, it's gonna come, and it's gonna be in your face, and it's gonna tell you to stop. But be aware of it. Because when you're aware of it, you can be like, no, I'm just trying to, making this, no, I'm not going to do it. I am going to take action, because action takers have success, okay? That's where it's at. It's in the action. It's in the follow-up. So seriously, guys, leave me a comment. I want to know what other people's upper limits are. I want to know what you guys are dealing with. Be honest. I mean, you're nothing to gain from lying. Be honest. Tell your stories. Don't be embarrassed. We're all seriously doing something to get in our own way, right? What's your biggest thing? What's stopping you from taking action? What have you done to get in your way? You know what I mean? Go ahead, I'd love to hear the different stories. They're interesting, and we can learn from them too. Like, if we hear somebody else admitting it, then we're like, yeah, I do that too. And then we can move on together, right? So guys, that's what the whole group is for. Please interact. Drop a like, comment, recommend me to your friends. I really want to grow this group. I do. I have goals, and one of the goals is I would love like 10,000 people in this group. I'm not even kidding. So I think we should all set goals like that, to be honest. And yeah, so I really do appreciate like a whole bunch of people dropping comments for me, being very supportive, because a lot of people can be like, you're this and that, which they do. But no, this group is growing, and I'm really happy that the people that I've been talking to are really kind and good family people. I didn't realize how many family people in this group. It's good. It's good. For family entrepreneurs, let's make the world a better place, one entrepreneur at a time. All right, guys, that's all I got. I hope everyone had a good weekend. If you're just starting your week tomorrow, I'm not. My week never ends. It never starts or ends. But if you are just starting your week, I'm sorry if you're facing the Sunday blues. And don't worry, I'll give you a huge happy Monday tomorrow. All right, guys. Talk to you later.